It's safe to say that rejection is one of those things that's plagued me my whole entire life. This feeling of just being inadequate, this, compulsion to prove my worth to just everyone. And it's like this hold that people have on me when they do reject me. And it's like, it just grabs me and it holds on to me. And the more people reject me, the more I feel like I need to prove my worth to them. And I know rejection just triggers this part of me, this child part of me that just really is yearning to be accepted by her family, to be accepted by the people that are meant to love you, meant to accept you, meant to, be there for you unconditionally. And because I never had that, I've been searching for it my whole entire life. And I think the thing that you fear most in the world seems to be what you attract the most. So it's like, I've gone through life tiptoeing around, trying to avoid rejection, trying to please everybody, trying to make everybody happy. And I think in that process, I really lost myself. I lost who I was. I tried to be the person that everyone wanted me to be because I was told that I would only be accepted if I was a certain type of person, if I did certain things. There was always conditions on acceptance, conditions on what I wanted most in the whole entire world. It wasn't free, it wasn't easy, it wasn't given out. It was something that I had to work for, and it was something that I really never got. And I just spent my whole life trying to work out a way how to get it, But it was like the ways that people told me I could get it was like not something that I could do. It was like I had to give up a part of me. It was like, if you were just normal, we'd accept you. And I'm sitting there going, well, how do I be normal? What is normal? I'm just being me. And being normal, what they told me I had to do was like giving up who I was as a person. So my whole life I've been given this choice. Give up who you are. Give up everything that you are if you want to be part of someone's life, if you want to be, if you want to be loved, if you want to be accepted. And that just never really seemed fair to me. It really was like the opposite of fair. And it was heartbreaking. It was like really, really difficult. And I think I lost myself trying to prove to people that I was worthy of acceptance. I mean, you shouldn't have to prove to anyone that you're worthy of acceptance, And it sort of took me to the point where I was so completely broken, failed marriage, another failed relationship. My parents had made it very clear that I would never be accepted, and it took me to hit that point at like rock bottom where I had no one and nothing. And I'm sitting there going, is there really something wrong with me? Like, is everyone right? I was getting help for my mental health, and it wasn't even my mental health that made me different. It was like just who I was as a person. And I'm sitting there and I was like, I'm doing everything right and people are still telling me that it's wrong. And I think putting myself in those situations where I was only going to be rejected, being around people who were never going to see my worth, people who were never going to value the things that I value, that was my mistake. It wasn't who I was as a person. It wasn't any fault of my own. It wasn't anything that I needed to change about myself, other than the fact I had to realize that not everyone was going to accept me, that not everyone was going to love me, that, despite what you're told as a child, that you're beautiful and people will love you and people will accept you. Well, that's fucking bullshit. And I think because I was told that as a child, but I was never given that, it just made me be like a fucked up adult. And the world is a cruel, hard, fucking difficult place. And I think we all do well to survive in it, you know? But particularly if you're different, and like whatever makes you different, whether it's because you're intelligent or it's your race or it's your mental illness or whatever it is that gives you traits that make you different, you know, you shouldn't have to change who you are just so that you can be accepted by the in crowd. Because at the end of the day, I think, you know what, yeah, I'm fucking different. And maybe that's a really cool thing. Maybe the world needs different people because the world isn't really doing that well on its own. Maybe it's people like us that are actually going to change the world. And it's too early really to tell that. But the thing is, whenever the world was changed, there was one person who's like, this is wrong. What we are doing is wrong. And all it takes is one person to stand up for what they believe in. And there's like a huge chance that people are just going to call you a nut. People are just going to call you a lone nut. But if you have the courage to stand up, if you have the courage to stand up for what you believe in, then maybe people will agree with you. Maybe there's a bunch of people out there who don't have the courage to stand up, and maybe they're just waiting for that opportunity, you know, to join a movement, to make a change, but they just don't know how, or they're not willing to be the first one to do it. And I kind of think that that's where I stand. And it doesn't take a whole bunch of courage to do that, because I just kind of figure I'm being rejected anyway. So I might as well stand out and do what I think is right. And that fear of failure that's been following me around my whole life, that fear of rejection, I just kind of realized that I was living my fear every single day. I was living my greatest fear from the moment that I was born. And even though rejection still absolutely hurts me, and I'm doing everything I can in my life to eliminate rejection, to avoid people who are going to reject me, because I just really needed to, because I was hurting and I was in so much pain and there was none of me left. And I just said, I need to find myself again. I need to get strong. I need to figure out who I am so that I can stand my ground, and I need to be confident in who I am, so when people try and reject me, I can sit back and be like, you know what? I'm happy on my own, so I actually don't need to be accepted by you. And even though I was forced to be on my own, and I was outcasted, and I was just put into this like ridiculous situation that hurt, that made me want to kill myself, that was excruciatingly painful, that I can't, you know, even thinking about it, even being triggered by something that reminds me of those experiences wants to just bring me down to my knees. I just figure it can't get any worse. So no matter what I do, it's not going to be worse than that. And if there's a slight chance that it might get better, then I might as well take that chance. And I just think, to anyone out there, a fear of rejection comes from never really being accepted by your parents. And that can be for a lot of reasons, or whoever it was that brought you up. I don't think you can ever fix what they did to you. I don't think I'll ever be fixed. But I think I'm going to get better at living with it. I'm going to get better at deciphering who is bad news for me. You know, I'm going to work out what type of people reject me and what type of people are capable of accepting me. And, you know, I'm sort of tapping out from any unnecessary human contact. You know, I still have a lot of contact with humans, but I sort of tap out from any unnecessary human contact, because until I can figure out that method, until I can figure out that what makes a person accept someone, what characteristics am I looking for in a person that's going to accept me, versus who do I need to avoid, like who's bad news, because there's people that are just out there that are not capable of accepting someone like me. They're not capable of valuing what it is that I have to offer. And you know what, I have a lot to offer. It's just different to what most people have to offer. And there are very few people who believe in me. There are very few people who see what I'm trying to do, and there's very few people that think I'm capable of doing what I want to do. But my doctors have played a huge part in that. Everyone on my Instagram has played a huge part in that as well. And the more support that I receive from you guys, the more encouragement I get, the more it just makes me feel like I am doing the right thing. And that everyone who has spent their entire life telling me that I'll be nothing, that I'm not good enough, that I need to change everything about who I am. You know, they said those things so much, it just became my inner dialogue. And you guys are slowly changing that, which I think is really awesome. And I don't think I could have done it without your help. Because I know I could sit there and I could, you know, practice CBT and DBT and psychology and be like, you know, let's go over and over again. You are worthy. You are this. Well, you know what? How much do you believe your own voice, like inside your head, when it's telling you something positive? I mean, I believe that voice when it's something negative, but when it's something positive, it's like, I'm really skeptical on it. And I think that's just because I've spent my whole life being told that I'm not to be trusted, that I'm not good enough, that my inner thoughts are wrong. People have been telling me my whole life what I should think and what I should feel, and I'm just sitting there going, hang on a minute, what makes you the expert on what I think and feel? I know very well what I think and what I feel, and you can't tell me what gives people the right to think that they can tell you what you actually think and what you actually feel. Because it's like, I'm inside my mind, you can't see inside my mind. And I guess when you've just been rejected for as long as I have, just gets to a point where like you can't be rejected anymore. So you shut the world out, or you just get rid of that idea that you'll ever be accepted. And I think the second just causes so much trouble. It causes so many issues, because it's like, if you think you'll never be accepted, then you're just going to keep attracting people who are never going to accept you. Stop that. Please. Don't get to the point where I was, where I had a bottle of my heart medication ready to take that shit. I'm lucky someone found me. It's a hard slog. And I think if I had my time over, my mother used to say that she wished I'd never been born, and I think the same thing. But I guess since I'm here, I might as well do what I can to make this life as enjoyable as possible. And I'm so used to life being unbearable for myself. And I'm so used to putting myself through pain with other people who are just there to reject me and who just want to hurt me, because I think it's worth it in the name of love, because that's like my fucked up idea of acceptance and being loved. But I'm really excited that you guys get something from this, because I'll take that bullet for the team. It makes it feel like everything I've gone through is worth it if it helps you guys in some way. And I really thank you for following my page and listening to my insights and rants about my life and mental illness. And I really hope I get to meet you all one day.